reports have come out that Nick Saban interested in helping out West Virginia. And we have heard from Pat McAfee, who is all-knowing, that Saban might not want to return to coaching. But I want to push back on this a little bit. I know that McAfee gets to be in that war room and sit with Saban quite often. He said, I've asked him 1,000 times. And he keeps saying no. Nick Saban is certainly going to be involved in this process. And I don't know why we have to already rule it out without somehow hearing an offer. Somehow hearing, here's Nick Saban's 3-year plan. He's a head coach for 3 years. His OC's promoted to head coach. Remember the weird Dana Holgerson thing where it was like, hey, we know in a year's time he'll be the head coach. What I cannot grasp is how there isn't a phone call made, an interview made where we say, Nick, we do want you to be involved in this process, but come home. Is there less pressure at West Virginia than Alabama? Absolutely. If Nick Saban goes 6-6 every year for 3 years at West Virginia, is he still a legend? Yes. Does Nick Saban need the money? No. Would it be good to go back home? Yes. We're talking about a West Virginia high school state champion, Nick Saban. A guy whose parents, born and bred West Virginia. A guy who understands this hard. You could, if you Google Nick Saban, West Virginia, you can listen to the interview clips where he talks about how proud he is of that state, how proud he is of that program, how proud he is to be from West Virginia. Jimbo Fisher, he's on the list. Rich Rod, on the list. I think a guy like Kotelnicki should certainly be on the list. But your number one guy, if you're Ren Baker, you say, Nick Saban, I will throw you the kitchen sink. There's a coach named Kevin Kelly here in Arkansas. He did a lot of like Bleacher Report interviews and documentary stuff a while back. He's the coach that always went for it on 4th down and never punted. That was his big thing in high school football. He won state championship after state championship. And you know what happened? After a while, he left the high school ranks for the college game. Didn't make it in the college game. Comes back to Arkansas and says, I will coach any of you. Give me a blank sheet of paper. I write my demands, and that's where I'm going to go. And finally, high school is like, yeah, we want to win. Sure. If I'm Ren Baker, I say, Nick Saban, here is your blank check. Here's your blank sheet of paper. We want you in college football. We've seen it from Bill Snyder to Mac Brown, where coaches get out of the game. We've seen it from players like a Tom Brady, where players or coaches get out of the game. They are lifers, they are gamers, and they say, I can't sit here anymore and do it. Do you see Nick Saban as the kind of guy that's just a TV personality the rest of his life? We get those. Was it Seth Davis that was a college basketball coach? Tom Crean, you see him do it. Lee Corso, Houston Nutt, Dan Mullen. There are guys who are like, you know what? I'm good. I'm going to make my money in TV. You know good and well, just as much as I do, Nick Saban is not one of those guys. He is not I'm good. I'm fine. This is a football guy who at the root of it cares more about home than any other part of this process. Is it hard at West Virginia to raise funds? Harder than it is in Alabama. Is it hard at West Virginia to recruit? If you only played with kids from the actual state itself, they wouldn't win a game. I'm from Arkansas. I can say the same thing about where I'm from. That's the way that most states are, by the way. Is the transfer portal and paying players and any of that getting any easier in college football? No. But the beauty of West Virginia is the leash for Nick Saban. And not only the leash, but the lack of pressure, because the expectation is just be Nick Saban. The expectation is not come win a national championship. It's come be Nick Saban, the head coach of West Virginia football. If ever there was an opportunity to go back, that would be it. When I was sitting down, I got the job offer from the Bananas to come do broadcast in their organization, and it is the best day job in the world. I get to travel the country and meet awesome people, awesome fans all over the place. At the same time, I was offered a radio position in Fayetteville, Arkansas, to move back home, to cover the Razorbacks, to be where I was from, close to family, to get back to my roots and represent something that has been so dear to my heart for so long. And while those two opportunities in a vacuum, you're like, oh, heck yeah, we're traveling the world, baby. And ultimately, that's what happened. The reason that I was so torn was that word, home. And now Nick Saban has the opportunity to go help a school that needs a football coach. And McAfee says that Nick Saban is interested in helping West Virginia. The ultimate thing that Saban can do is coach West Virginia. I am not subscribed to the idea that this game has passed Nick Saban by. I am not subscribed to the idea that this game has gotten so different that Saban can't do it ever again. I just don't think that's in the psyche of a guy who gets to go to legendary college atmospheres, legendary college campuses every single week, sit there and give his picks, which are mostly wrong somehow, by the way, and then go home to Miss Terry and be done. He should not only help in the hiring process, not only be one of West Virginia's main donors. Like, I get it. He didn't go to West Virginia. He didn't ever have a major coaching impact at that university. I didn't go to the University of Arkansas. I didn't go to the University of Central Arkansas, but I still watch those games. I still hope they win. I still hope one day when the opportunity arises that I can represent them somehow, whether it's donating money or being involved. That's how he feels. Everybody has that school. Everybody has a home. And Nick Saban has that in West Virginia. Hop, skip, and a jump from Morgantown as a kid watching those games. Now, you have a retirement job. Hey, you don't need the money. We'll give it to you, though. You don't need the stress or the pressure. There isn't really any. Do whatever you want here, and we're going to love the heck out of the fact that you're here. Jimbo, a little bit less so. Jimbo goes 6-6 all 3 years, and we're mad at Ren Baker. But if you can land the plane and get a legend like Nick Saban home, that's it. That's it. The national exposure, the money you'll make back. Ask Colorado right now. They're using the other guy who's in those commercials, Affleck commercials, Deion Sanders. The money that the city of Boulder, much less Colorado, is making because of that hire is absurd. They couldn't pay him enough to be there. They're making it hand over fist, and you would too as a university at West Virginia if you give the blank check, the blank sheet, say, Nick, we'll give you whatever you want for your assistance too. Let's build something here at West Virginia. Build it back for 3 years, for 5 years. And then we'll put a statue up. It's the prospect of going home that could keep Nick Saban in this fight and will keep me from the outside looking at this, monitoring this, and saying it's a non-zero chance that a Texas Tech, that a Baylor, that a UCF, that a BYU is playing against Nick Saban in West Virginia next season. Something big is coming. There are too many powerful people who love that university, from Jimbo to Nick to Pat McAfee, for this not to be a home run, instant impact hire. I would be shocked if West Virginia is outside of my top 6, 7 in the Big 12 in the preseason next year, even through a coaching change, just because it will be that monumental. Coming up, Iowa State, elite atmosphere. Locked On Big 12, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Today's show is brought to you by Game Time. It's like, hey, Game Time, Tyler Childers just announced a new tour. And if there's one thing I want to do, it's go see Tyler Childers on tour. So when Game Time was like, yeah, we have those tickets already up if you want them, I found the lowest price guaranteed, or 110% of the difference credited back to you. I found super deals, seat views before I buy, and the all-in pricing feature. Toggle the feature, show the total up front, no surprise fees at checkout. Those seat views too, panoramic view, baby. Here's what it's going to look like inside of that bin. Here's what it's going to look like when I'm in Charlotte's in, I keep saying West Virginia, North Carolina, watching Tyler Childers. That's pretty cool. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time picks. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Create an account, redeem code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? It is Game Time.